So describing the Enneagram process and system, we'll look at the following diagrams. The first one is what you know of, which I've been speaking about. 1 being the reformer, 2 the helper, 3 the achiever, 4 the individualist or the artist, 5 the investigator, 6 the loyalist, 7 the enthusiast, 8 the challenger, and 9 the peacemaker. You'll see that there's directions of stress and then directions of growth next to it. So directions of stress, so when one is under stress, it tends to go to 4. And when you understand the characteristics of those personality types, you'll understand 1. When 2 is under stress, it goes to 8. It becomes the challenger. So 2s can be very loving and very giving, but when they're under stress, they will challenge. So they will be angry. They will, they will just blow the lid. Where with 1, when they go to the individualist, they can become a little bit more dramaful, a little bit, oh, woo is me. When they're under stress, they become very emotional. When 3s are under stress, they go to 9. They become like the peacemaker, where they also, peacemaker is known as the sloth, because they don't necessarily want to do anything. They just will lie on the couch, or they will just not engage. So that is what 3 does under stress. What 4 does under stress is it goes to 2. It overly gives to others, it overly does. It can also be very emotional. It feels everyone's feelings, and they don't take care of their own needs. That's what they do. When 5 is under stress, it goes to 7. It lets its hair down, have a party, try and forget about things, try to see the lighter side of things, just sort of lose themselves in that energy. When 6 is under stress, it goes to a 3. It becomes a workaholic. It becomes working very hard, trying to overperform. When 7 goes to stress, it goes to a 1. It becomes like the reformer, making lists, trying to find order, so forth. When 8 is under stress, it goes to 5. It goes into reading more, analyzing more, more on book or computer, or just losing themselves in one of those avenues. And when 9 is under stress, it goes to 6. It becomes fearful, anxious, suspicious, all that. So that is the movements that the Enneagram types have, and so that's where they disintegrate. Where they integrate and become healthier versions, and where there's growth, is that type 1 will go to 7. So where they're very rigid, and for the scales going on and knowing what's right and wrong and all that, then they will tend to go to number 7, which is just let your hair down, have fun, maybe have a glass of wine, just have more carefree lifestyle in between the rigidness. The type 2 tends to go to a 4. So for when a type 2 is overly emotional, for their growth and to be more integrated, they do something artistic like paint or draw or writing, or something that is in a creative pursuit, just allowing those juices to flow to bring balance to the emotions. Where 3 for growth will go to a 6, and they will where their focus might have been on themselves, so they'll focus also on others, and they'll mentor, and they'll give to others. Type 4, when they go in the direction of integration and growth, they go to 1. They also make a list. They started to perform in a better level. So yes, they just become more healthier. Where 5, when they for their integration, they go to 8. They stand their ground. They become strong. They can be also successful in business because they bring that strong energy through. When 6 is healthy and it integrates, it goes to a 9. It doesn't worry as much, or stressed or fearful. It becomes more peaceful, more harmonious inside of themselves. The 7 is integration. They tend to go to 5. They find their balance in reading up more, understanding more, gaining more information. Yes, that's what they do. 8, when they need to be integrated and healthier, they tend to go to number 2, the Enneagram Type 2, and that's where they'll offer some help. They'll have some compassion. They'll have some kindness. They'll want to nurture, but it's not their normal stance. But under growth, they do that. Number 9, so they tend to go to 3 for integration, where they actually want to be successful and want to bring in the balance through succeeding and achieving in something in their life. Then you can see we have instinctive centers. There is a feeling center, a thinking center, and an instinctive center. So that's the triads, and the 3 in the feeling center. It's all that's connected to the heart. 2, 3, and 4 operate from the heart. 5, 6, and 7 operate more from the mind, and 8, 9, and 1 operate from the gut, the instinctive center. So 2, 3, and 4 is affected by shame. 5, 6, and 7 is affected by fear, and 8, 9, and 1 is affected by anger. And so with in the feeling center, it is your identity is attached to what you do and what you give and what you perform, but it all comes from the heart. And they operate from wanting to be loved up to not even believing in love anymore. So it just depends on in what center this is. So life affects them, and it affects them in the heart center. That's why they're the most emotional of all the Enneagram types. 5, 6, and 7 is thinking. So they are affected by fear. So life, with life projecting to them, they fear all the things that they can think about. 5's response to that would be, I need more information about this thing that I'm fearing. So they gather information. They read up, they study, they do all this so that they understand the problem. 6 is they tend to fear. So they fear the unknown, and they tend to feel that there's safety in numbers. So they have many friends that they will engage in, so that they don't face it alone. Although they're most calm in a face of adversity, because they've planned it in their head so much what they can do and where the exit is and so forth. So they tend to be the most calm in the face of challenge. And where 7 is, if I don't stay at one place long enough, there's nothing for me to fear. So they tend to hop around and be happy-go-lucky and be buoyant and so forth. 8, 9, and 1 is the gut center, and they're affected by the gut, and they get angry, and they express anger in different ways. From external anger with 8 will punch first and then ask questions, and they say the jails is mostly full of 8s because they don't think. They act on instinct and they respond very quickly. 9s they want peace, so they don't necessarily want to acknowledge their anger. They do get angry, but they express their anger in a different way. And where 1s are more passive aggressive with their anger, they feel themselves getting angry, but not necessarily also giving themselves permission. So but they're very righteous, so they are very quick to let others know, but what is the right thing to do. They like to set people right and straight because that's what they do to themselves. Then to describe the wings on the end, the wings has to do with the numbers next to each type. So type 1's wings will be either a 9 wing or a 2 wing, or 2 will have either a 1 wing or a 3 wing, or 3 will either have a 2 wing or a 4 wing, or 4 will have a 3 wing or a 5 wing. 5 will have a 4 wing or a 6 wing. 6 will either have a 5 wing or a 7 wing. 7 will either have a 6 and an 8 wing. 8 will either have a 7 or a 9 wing. 9 will either have an 8 or a 1 wing. And I describe the wings and their functions and how it differs, and how you operate when you have those wings. So it's just a support system. It's something that you can pull in and work from, and that is how you'll know more about yourself. Alrighty.